It's good to smile, isn't it? Do you know that smiling is probably one of the greatest ways that we can love God? Because that's what we're going to talk about today. We've explored this idea of loving ourselves. We've explored this idea of loving others. And today we're going to talk about this idea of loving God. And so I want to break it down and take the word God out of this. I want to take it down and make it even more real to our human mind. And that is, how do we love life? Because you see, everything that is life is God. You cannot separate the two. The very breath that we take is the common breath that all life is taking. The thoughts that we think are the thoughts that all life is thinking. And so to settle into this idea of loving God, it's not about the worship of something outside of ourselves. It's to live in a state of pure gratitude, of pure positive expectancy of everything. Because when you are living from a sense of oneness, a sense of perfection of God, you're grateful because you know it's all good. Do you know why you know it's all good? Because it's all you. Because think about it. If God is all there is and you are God, you know that it's all good because you're the creator of all. So the eyes through which you see, the ears through which you hear, the senses through which you feel are the very senses that God feels, that God sees, and God hears through. So what is the intent behind our ears, our eyes, and our feeling nature? Is it one where we know the truth? What I came to understand is that God or love is that which creates all things. And not only does it create it, it knows that it creates it. And it knows that all of it creates it. So it knows that the individual, the other, and the collective are all here for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to create. So to love life, to love God, is to be what God is. And what is God? The Creator. So God's role that it's eternally doing for itself as itself, because it chooses to, is to create more of itself, to experience more of itself. So isn't that the same role for each of us? Our role is simply to create. And what are we creating? Is it what we want? I guess that's up to you to decide. So let me explain how this creative process works in the most simple of ways. Because we're all powerful, that nothing can oppose us, we simply create by setting an intention. God said, "Let there be light." And then within the allness of God, there was thoughts that said there is light. There were feelings that said there was light. There were actions that said there was light. There was expectancy that there was light. And light was. So you see, when you take it from our human mind's perspective, to create, we can set a perfect intention, an intention that is desiring to be expressed through us in its fullness. And when we set that intention, then our thoughts go, and our thoughts are thinking only thoughts about that intention. So everything we're thinking is about the intention that we've set. And so we've got this player going, and thoughts are going. Now from those thoughts, what happens next? Now the words that we speak coming out, they're in alignment with our thoughts. They say nothing that our thoughts are not thinking. So our intention, our thoughts, our words, they're all in alignment. And then what happens next? But our emotions fill behind intention. Our emotions fill behind the thoughts. Our emotions fill with the words, and we become this gigantic energy expression of pure intention that is so clear, so precise, so open to receive that all of a sudden we act as we intend. We act and become that which is the intention. And when we act and become it, we have embodied it at the essence of all that we are, and we have created that as our experience. It is law. It is automatic. It must be. And when we do that, we are living as God. We have taken the very aspects of the eternal Creator that are the same aspects that we are. We are using the very law, the power that created everything in the world, and we are directing it because we know who we are. We are the individualizations of the One. We are the perfect expression of the One. So we go through life in gratitude for everything that is in my life I have created. Everything that is coming to my life I know will be good because I'm its creator. So I live in gratitude. I live in positive expectancy because I am no longer at the whim of the law of averages, because I've taken responsibility. I have personally claimed my oneness with God, and I'm choosing to love God with my whole heart and soul. I was listening to Meatloaf this week, because I am a rocker. And the one song that really hit me this week was, I would do anything for love. I would do anything for love. What does that mean? Think about what we just talked about taking an intention that is so clear and valuable to us, knowing that that's what love desires to create. I would do anything for love, which means I would think only about that which I love. I would speak only about that which I would love. I would put emotion behind only that which I love, and I would act as love. The Beatles said so clearly, all you need is love, because they understood that the power that is creating this universe is the power within us individually and collectively. So as we looked at the event that happened in Colorado this week, we can go and we can focus on all the negatives. We can focus on taking away. We can focus about giving up freedom. Or we can look at this and say, this is a world that is saying, love me more. Love me more. For when I feel and know love, I can only feel and give love. There was a song that Harry Chapin wrote back in the late 60s, early 70s, and the song was called Sniper. And it was a song about this individual who went to the top of a tower at the University of Texas, and he proceeded to shoot 72 people that day. And he talks about the drama of the song, of what's going on in the mind of this person who is there. And at the very end of the song, it gets built up to this very dramatic point where all of a sudden the police are knocking down the door, coming in to get him, and this soul yells out, I am. And the point of the song was he did not know who he was, and because he did this act, now people would know him. You see, we don't have to go that far to know who we are. It's the same thing that happened in the story that you've read, I'm sure, 1,000 times about a young schoolboy who wasn't known in his class. He was just thought of as weird, and he was walking home one day. and as someone knocked his books down. And this other boy came who was popular, and he came and he bent down and he helped him pick up his books. And he walked with him and he talked with him. And they became friends. 6 months later, when they were graduating, and he was a valedictorian, he got up and told that story. And he thanked his best friend, Brian, because he said to Brian, "You didn't know this, but I was going home to kill myself because no one thought I existed." So what is loving God? Loving God is loving yourself. It's loving everyone. It's loving everything. It's being that presence. It's being that power. It's being love. It's coming from a place of gratitude. It's coming from a place of knowing. And what I vow to you as a member of this community of agape is that as long as I know you, you will be significant. You will be loved. You will be cared for. You will be seen more than any expression that you might think. And that is the intention of our practitioners. That is the intention of our board members. In fact, that is the intention of agape. For what we are about is the love of God operating through our individual human heart, coming back together in oneness so that together we may all rise and live in joy, in peace, in harmony, in abundance. Makes me smile. Think about a world. Think about our world as love.